In the headlines, Zamfara police neutralized bandits, recover AK-47 rifle ammunition. Reactions trail APC victory in Ekiti State as SDP rejects results. Kaduna State sacks NUT president, 2,356 teachers after competency test. On the foreign scene, Belgium hands over remains of DRC independence hero Patrice Lumumba to family. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. The Zamfara State Police Command on Monday said its operatives killed one bandit during a gun duel in Sarangamawa and Unguwar Mata villages of Gumi local government area of the state. In a statement, the police public relations officer in the state, Muhammad Shehu, said other bandits fled to the forests. He said police tactical operatives deployed along Gumi Bukuyum axis received a distress call on Sunday that armed bandits on motorcycles invaded the villages with the intent to kill and abduct members of the communities. At least 3 persons have been killed with several others injured in an attack on Orlu, Imo State. The police public relations officer in the state, Michael Abatam, confirmed the attack via a statement issued on Sunday in Owerri, the state capital. He said the command received a distress call that gunmen who were operating in a red Toyota Sienna vehicle without a registration number sped off to Umwebele, Ogboro community in Orlu. Gunmen have attacked Zira, a village in Toro local government area of Bauchi State, and abducted the village head Yaya Saleh Abubakar and his son Habibu Saleh. Confirming the incident, Bauchi State Police spokesman SP Muhammad Ahmed Wakil said that the gunmen attacked the village, which is under Rishi Police Division, a border village with Plateau State, around 2 a.m. Saturday night. Wakil said the Commissioner of Police, Umar Mamman Sanda, had directed the divisional police officers in the area to rescue the abducted victims unhurt. He urged the public to remain calm and go about their normal business and report any suspicious activities. He said police are doing everything possible to ensure security of life and property. The abduction came 5 days after gunmen attacked Jimari communities in Al-Kaleri local government area, killing 4 people and injuring 3. The district head of Lame, Alhaji Aliyu Yakubu Lame, said the abductors had yet to contact families. Hoodlums attacked the press crew attached to the Lagos State Governor on Sunday. The assaults took place around Adeniji Adele after journalists left the palace of the Oba of Lagos, which Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, also visited. An eyewitness, one of the journalists who was on the bus, said the road was blocked by many hoodlums who pelted them with stones and dangerous items. He said the bus windshield and side windows were all broken and some journalists injured. 2 of the victims from Shola communities in Shola quarters in Katsina metropolis have regained freedom after paying 11 million naira as ransom. The abductees are Alhaji Tukur Turaiki and his wife Saadatu Turaiki. Abdullahi Yamadi met with the released couple at their residence in Katsina and now reports.
Though looking hale and hearty, this kidnapped victim describes how rough the road to the kidnapper's den is. He, however, started with his encounter with the terrorists at home before the journey to their den.
Later on, they say, okay, am I ready for them to kill me? Then I asked them, are you going to shoot me at the front or at the back? Choose, the option is for you. Then he would just hold my hand. He said, you don't even fear us. You are talking with us confidently. I said, we are all human beings. So from there, they carry me go outside my house.
The trauma of being forced out of their residence with his wife, leaving his second wife and children behind, readily comes to mind. After trekking for over 50 kilometers to the point where the terrorists kept their motorcycles, they rode to the forest throughout the day with 3 people on each bike.
Honestly speaking, My colleagues, they carry us there, I pity them. Because the way their relatives are begging them, they are not listening to them. Still, they are under their custody up to now.
How many of them?
They are 4 in number. Three men, 1 woman. And that woman, she has a baby. That baby, I think she's for 5 months. Yes.
Though Turaki and his wife stayed there for only 2 days, he is concerned about the condition of some victims he left behind at the terrorists' hideout. While narrating her ordeal, Turaki's wife, Hajia Saadatu, who is a professional nurse, says she was harassed, beaten, and intimidated by her abductors.
Sai na daga kaina ta window sai na ga su da kayan sojoji a jikinsu da bindiga a rataye. Sai na ce me ta window ne musu magana na ce me ya muku kuke dukan shi? Sai wani ya hasko ni da torchlight.
When I noticed the presence of strange people in our house on that fateful day, I thought they were military officers. While asking why they were beating our child, one of the terrorists slapped me twice and hit me with a gun. It was then that I realized that they were not officers.
Saadatu, looking emotionally exhausted, disturbed, weak, and tired, called on government to be more proactive in dealing with criminals terrorizing people of Katsina State and the country in general. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Abiodun Oyebanji, is now the governor-elect of Ekiti State. Appreciating the confidence reposed in him by the people of the state, Oyebanji is promising that his administration will operate an open-door policy that will ensure that all citizens are carried along. Trust TV reporter Kabir Lawal gives us an insight into the mood in the state after the elections.
The Ekiti election has a clear winner, Abiodun Oyebanji, who is governor-elect, garnering 187,057 votes, trailed by his Social Democratic Party counterpart, Segun Oni, with 82,211 votes, while the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate, BC Kolawole, polled 67,457 votes. Understandably, there are mixed reactions to the outcome of the elections. The SDP candidate, for instance, has rejected the result and insists that he will not congratulate the winner. There are also unproven allegations that the votes were bought. However, some residents are happy with the result and are insisting that the vote was hitch-free.
We worked very hard, but God crowned our efforts, and we thank God for Bao.
It is God that gave us this victory. And Bao in person, his character, his behavior to the people of Ekiti State actually enhanced him this victory. And we thank God because it's a free election, no bloodshed. And
meanwhile, the governor-elect has promised that his administration will continue to uplift the people of the state.
We will work together with you to keep Ekiti working. I thank all other aspirants and their respective political parties for the dignified way they carried out their campaigns and for contributing to the credibility of the process. I will be seeking audience with you all in the coming days.
The Ekiti election was supposed to be a litmus test to adjudge how ready INEC was for the elections next year. It also throws more light on a key factor that must be overcome before the polls: voter apathy. With only 37% of registered voters casting their vote in this election, it is very obvious now that a lot more must be done in the area of voter mobilization. In Ekiti, Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News.
Meanwhile, the Social Democratic Party has rejected the result of the just concluded governorship election in Ekiti State. As candidate of the APC in the Ekiti governorship election, Abiodun Oyebanji emerged winner of the elections, having scored 187,057 votes to defeat Segun Oni of the Social Democratic Party, who came second with 82,211 votes in the keenly contested governorship race. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the SDP has threatened to contest the results at the election tribunal. The report.
Declaring the results of the Saturday's poll,
INEC returning officer Professor Kayode Oyebode says candidate of the major opposition People's Democratic Party PDP, VC Kolaole, also polled 67,457 votes to clinch the third position.
That Abiodun Abayomi Oyebanji of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected.
Meanwhile, the Social Democratic Party SDP has rejected the results of the governorship election, alleging massive voter inducement and orchestrated violence at the strongholds by the ruling party. Speaking exclusively to media trust platforms, agent of the SDP barrister Oseni Ajayi also threatened that his party will approach the tribunal to ensure justice, just as he declined to sign the result sheet. Reacting to the allegations, agent of the ruling APC Kayode Babade dismissed the claims, challenging SDP to provide proof, insisting that the claims were baseless. 16 political parties fielded candidates in the up-season election, which was manned by 17,000 policemen, over 9,000 civil defense corps, and supervised by 4 INEC national commissioners and 8 resident electoral commissioners. Shapiro Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
An aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress in the just concluded Nasarawa West senatorial primary election, Labaran Magaji, has urged the National Working Committee of the party to set up a special committee to investigate the 125 fake delegates from the zone. Magaji made the appeal in an interview with journalists shortly after he was received by his team and supporters in Nasarawa Toto local government area on Sunday. He said that the primary was marred by irregularities, adding that they have filed a petition before the Federal High Court in Abuja.
Which I was a candidate, took place on the 4th of June 2022 after the postponements, after the series of postponement of that election. It finally came to the light on the 4th of June, and as God will have it, it was held peacefully. And I polled 114 votes, while my opponent was alleged to have polled 179 votes. Now, ideally, whether wrongly or rightly, he was a candidate. But soon after the election, facts emerged that touches on the credibility of the process, which we reviewed it and we discovered that there was a very, very fundamental controversy surrounding the process. One was that the delegates for Kefi and Nasarawa local government were not the delegates that were voted during the congresses for the purposes of the election which took place. And what we did was immediately file an appeal to the body statutorily established by the National Working Committee to so do, which was equally in line with the spirit of the Electoral Act, which, and of course the party constitution, which suggests that for any party member who has grievance must exhaust the internal mechanism of the party.
Kaduna State Government has announced the dismissal of 2,357 teachers, including the National President of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, Audu Amba, for failing or refusing to sit for the competency test organized by the State Universal Basic Education Board. Katsubeb said the board conducted a competency test for over 30,000 teachers in December 2021, adding that 2,192 primary school teachers, including the NUT National President, had been dismissed for refusing to sit for the competency test. Reacting, Chairman of the NUT, Kaduna State Ibrahim Delhatu, said the competency test and dismissal of the teachers are illegal. Dalhatu said they had secured a court order restraining the board from conducting the competency test, noting it conducted the test without recourse to the rule of law. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Appeal of a spinal cord injury patient to Borno State government. Do stay. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at some of our major stories. You heard that Zamfara police neutralized bandits, recover AK-47 rifle ammunition. We also heard that reactions trail APC victory in Ekiti State as SDP rejects results. Moving to more news, an unidentified female member of the National Youth Service Corps, a pregnant woman, and 5 other passengers appeared dead in a boat mishap in Bayelsa. Police spokesman in the state, SP Asanim Butswat, who confirmed the incident, said they were still waiting for more information to get the identity of the victims. He said the accident happened Saturday afternoon between Otwan and Ayama communities in the southern Ijaw local government area of the state. Daily Trust reports that the boat, which has a capacity for 15 passengers, rammed into a barrier in the waters and sank while approaching Ayama to berth amidst a heavy rainstorm. Reports say that the boat and the corpses of the victims are still missing as of the time of filing this report, while local divers were on a search and rescue operation along the Ayama community coastline. Meanwhile, chairman of the Maritime Union in Otwan, Joseph Shadrach, said the boat's driver, Lucky Christopher, who survived the accident, had been detained by the police for alleged reckless driving. A 37-year-old indigene of Borno State suffering from spinal cord injury after her involvement in an accident has cried out for help 22 years after the incident. Khadija Abba, who was a student of Yerwa Government Girls Secondary School in Maiduguri, was on a mission to represent the state in a sports event when she had the accident. The 37-year-old, who feels she was neglected by the Borno State government, is now calling on the state governor, Babagana Zulum, to revisit her case. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
This is a 37-year-old Khadija Abba, a former student of Yerwa Government Girls Secondary School, Maiduguri, who lives on a wheelchair. In 2000, she was nominated to represent Borno State in a sport competition abroad, but in the process, her team got involved in an accident which left her with spinal cord injury. We had an accident in 2000 between Kano and Zaria. We were traveling to Lagos in a process to go to Morocco, from there to Italy. Then the accident happened. Since then, I was idle and neglected by the government. It was a spinal cord injury. If anyone gets involved in such incident, he must experience stigmatization, depression, and anxiety because of the ailment. Despite being an orphan, Khadija was neglected by the Borno State government, and bad treatment from her family forced her to leave home. Due to the government's negligence and trauma at home, then the Boko Haram crisis, I left Maiduguri to Gombe. I was received by the Association of Persons with Disability. I spent almost 12 years here in Gombe. However, Khadija defies all odds to be self-reliant as she ventured into cap knitting business. I can't engage in baking. You know, there is cap knitting job in Borno, so I learned it. After the accident, I continue when I return here. I have customers. Khadija is optimistic if Governor Babagana Zulum knows about her plight, he will render a helping hand. I want leaders from Borno to watch this, because I got involved in the accident because of the Borno State government. They should take responsibility. Maybe sponsor my treatment in India. Maybe I will get better. Why shouldn't they provide me a shelter and source of living? I can even go back to school. Khadija's story and that of other persons with disability who shun street begging for self-reliance are justifying that there is always ability in disability. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has foiled attempts by drug traffickers to export methamphetamine to Malaysia and Australia. The NDLEA says it also arrested 2 persons in connection to the attempted illegal export. In this report, Chiamaka Nwafo chronicles more of the strides recorded by the Apex Drug Enforcement Agency to rid the country of the menace in the last week. The report.
According to a statement by the agency's head of media and advocacy, Femi Babafemi, parcels of Mporomiri, which is the popular local parlance for the methamphetamine drug, concealed in conflicts, parks and body cream containers, were seized by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, at Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Iketa, and the courier company in Lagos. Babafemi informed the 2 freight agents, Neji Anoma and Etu Barnabas, involved in the bid to export 9 parcels of methamphetamine weighing 1.45 kilogram hidden in parks of conflicts to Malaysia through the narco export shed of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport on Wednesday, have been arrested. Another consignment of 10 cartons of Tramadol, 225 milligram package as Trama King, containing 500,000 tablets with a total weight of 407 kilogram and an estimated street value of 200 million naira, have been seized during a joint examination with the customs at the NCS warehouse. The consignment, which had arrived Sako import shed since 6 June from India via Ethiopian Airline, was eventually transferred to the NDLEA by customs on Wednesday. On Tuesday, a similar joint examination with customs at the Customs Enforcement Terminal, Tinkan Seaport, Lagos, led to the seizure of 33 parcels of cannabis indica Colorado, weighing 16.5 kilograms. The drug exhibit was received from a 40-foot container carrying 4 vehicles, with the cannabis coming from Montreal, Canada, discovered in 3 of the vehicles. In the same vein, operatives of the Directorate of Operations and General Investigation at the agency attached to a courier company have intercepted a kilogram of methamphetamine concealed in body cream containers heading to Australia. Meanwhile, the drug cartels also suffered losses in their operations across Adamawa, Borno, Kogi, Ogun, Zamfara, and Taraba states as notorious drug dealers were arrested and several consignments of illegal drugs seized. Chairman, Chief Executive of NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, commended the officers and men of the various commands of the seizures and arrests of the past week. He encouraged them and their compatriots across their formations to remain vigilant and intensify their offensive action against the drug cartels in all parts of the country.
Cultural Counselor of the Chinese Embassy in Nigeria, Li Zhuda, says the initiative of commemorating the United Nations World Gastronomy Day has placed Nigerian cuisines on the international map. Li made this known in Abuja during the commemoration of the 2022 Sustainable Gastronomy Day, a day set aside by the United Nations to acknowledge the importance of global cuisines to fostering unity. Also speaking, First Secretary of the Embassy of Spain in Nigeria, Patricia Gomez, said food remains a way to strengthen cultural, human and bilateral relations among countries.
And through promoting food culture, we can really promote the culture in diversity. And I think, China, we pay attention to the concept of harmony. We always say harmony in diversity. Through this way, I think that we can push forward our two countries' cooperation in many fields, including
countries, which is the case of both Nigeria and Spain. So sometimes we don't have to get very far into very sophisticated things to understand each country. Only one thing like food can make you realize how close or how many things you can understand about the other country by only tasting something that is probably delicious.
Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has suspended the issuance of licenses to the applicants on the free trade zone at the airports until conflicts in the regulatory framework between it and the Nigerian Export Processing Zones Authority are resolved. Managing Director of FAN, Captain Rabiu Yadudu, who gave the suspension notice to intending free trade zone applicants, said at the Lagos airport alone, there are 2 free trade zone operators, while additional 2 companies have applied. He explained that the 5 international airports in the country have been designated as free trade zones and warned that if not well regulated, it might be a big challenge for the country in the future. Away from Nigeria, Belgian authorities have handed over a tooth, the only known remains of the murdered Congolese independence hero Patrice Lumumba, to his family during a ceremony in Brussels. Chief Prosecutor Frederic Van Loo gave his relatives the tooth in a televised ceremony at Edmond Palace in central Brussels on Monday. He said legal action they had taken to receive the relic had delivered justice. Meanwhile, the DRC is set to hold 3 days of national mourning from 27th to 30th June, its 62nd anniversary of independence, to mark the burial ceremony in Kinshasa of the remains. Lumumba became the Democratic Republic of the Congo's first democratically elected prime minister after independence from Belgium in 1960. His government lasted just 3 months before he was overthrown and assassinated by a firing squad at the age of 35. And finally, in sports, world heavyweight boxing champion Alexander Usyk will defend his titles in a rematch with Britain's Anthony Joshua in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on August 20th, promoters announced Sunday. Ukraine's Usyk defeated the WBA, IBF and WBO champion Joshua by a unanimous decision in London in September last year. Usyk defeated Joshua 117-112, 116-112, and 115-113 on the judges' scorecards in London. Then a rematch clause was activated. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.